ice rink isn't the only thing that drives the people wild. This weekend, the rally is in town. This will be the first of 7 consecutive gravel events, so it's important to prove to the rest that you have both the skills and the equipment to challenge for top honours. This year, Sebastian Loeb is the overriding favourite for the title. A winning Monte Carlo put him on course, but an uncharacteristic error in Sweden saw him crash spectacularly and later retire with engine problems, scoring no points. But there's more drama here in Mexico as he's forced to pull over on the way to shakedown with a problem with his new engine.
We didn't reach the start of the shakedown. We had a problem on the road section, and so I decided to come back to the service, and then the engine stopped on the road section, so they're just checking.
We think the best way for us is to change the engine, and we just look at the regulation, and there won't be any penalty, I think so.
Rules for 2008 say drivers must use the same engine for 3-lap rallies or receive a 5-minute penalty. But those regulations have a number of complex clauses to cover engine failure in a wide variety of situations. The FIA delegate told Citroën that he believed Lowe would escape punishment on this occasion. However, the Mexico stewards then overruled the FIA delegate and imposed a 5-minute penalty on the Frenchman, effectively ending his chances of winning here. Citroën appealed, and after another lengthy stewards meeting, a compromise was reached. The penalty would be withdrawn as long as Lowe put the old engine back in the car.
The problem is I'm doing this job for now 10 weeks, and ask to somebody from the FIA and so on, and they told me by just speaking, that we could do it, but I didn't have any paper, so I make maybe a little mistake.
No such worries for championship leader Mikko Hirvonen, who has bagged consecutive second best finishes in his Ford and holds a 6-point lead over Lowe. He loves the gravel and expects to get ready for a win here. But there's a new kid on the block. Jari-Matti Latvala became the youngest ever winner of a WRC event in Sweden, and in finish, he also loves driving the good stuff. So this is how they stand going into the rally. Hirvonen leads from Loeb and Latvala, but don't discount that a Solberg, the Subaru, is traditionally very strong here. In the manufacturers' Ford took maximum points in Sweden, but finally to the top of the table, whilst their main rivals Citroën scored just 3 and tumbled from first to 4th. This rally looks smooth and fast, but it's caught many people out in the past. So there's plenty for the drivers to think about. A big issue is the altitude, which reduces the engine power up to 30%. Add to that the new travel time, which comes only in a hard compound with a standard track that can't be cut. And of course, there's no one-track boost. The rally is once again based in Leon, northwest of Mexico City. The route breaks last year's record for being the shortest on the calendar. But once again, all the stages, bar the super specials, will be 2,000 metres above sea level. The rally may be based in Leon, but the start ceremony took place on Thursday evening in the state capital, Guanajuato. It's always a powerful start to the weekend, and thousands of fans have flocked down to this historic city to watch the occasion. Cars had to negotiate the subterranean tunnels that stay underneath the city centre, as well as some uber-enthusiastic spectators. It was a terrific atmosphere, as always, in Guanajuato, and many of the drivers joined in the fun. A somewhat relieved Sebastian Loeb, who passed over the ramp back with his original engine, and with the threatened 5-minute time penalty now no longer hanging over him, he's free to concentrate on fighting for another win. But after the festivities, it's time to get serious. Championship leader Mikko Hirvonen is first into the 23-kilometre stage 1. The first half of this stage is quite twisty, with plenty of rocks around, so Hirvonen will need caution out there this morning as well as speed. Mikko on his way then, and not far behind is his full teammate, Jari-Matti Latvala. 22-year-old Finn's incredible debut win in Sweden has come a lot earlier than many thought, but this is a confident young man, and I expect another determined display from Jari-Matti this weekend. Back at the start line now, and Sebastian Loeb is in the unfamiliar position of beginning the long curve on the road. The world champion has won in Mexico for the last 2 years, and after his frustrating retirement in Sweden, he'll be desperate to get a good result here and kickstart this season. Historically, Peter Solberg goes well in Mexico, and he'll fancy his chances of competing at the top.
To keep right to the crest, but
he's already experienced one of the hazards of the Mexican wilderness, hitting a stray dog in the stage, and that shot shows the damage it's done to his Impreza. Here's Danny Sordo now. He was 4th here last year, one of his stronger performances on the
Izquierda 7 a fondo, acaba rasante 60. Rasante izquierda 7 corta poco lenta 30. 7 corta poco lenta 30 y final en casa. Izquierda 6 poco tarde se cierra poco.
But a problem here for Danny. There are a lot of rocks lying around, and Citroen's number 2 has hit one here. He's sent into a spin. Sordo has had his fair share of bad luck in his short career so far, and I'm afraid to say this could be another frustrating weekend. He's already pulled over and with the steering broken. That's the end of the day for Danny and co-driver Mark Marty. Mexico's notoriously unpredictable roads are already biting this morning. We're back with Vico here now, and as the first car on the road, the Finn is going to be at a disadvantage as he sweeps the top layer of loose gravel away. He's pushing hard, but will be struggling for grip on this slippery surface, and his split times are showing that his pace is indeed suffering on stage 1. Hivenen is safely through the opening test at least, and Latvala now has a target to chase. The Finn has clipped a rock and split a tyre later on here, but this is still looking like an impressive start. Well, that debut win in Sweden has obviously proved a real confidence boost. He's 9.8 seconds up after stage 1. Jari-Matti quickly out to assess the damage to that tyre.
You're 8.5 quicker at the last split to Mikko, but you're out of the car looking at the tyre and there's a cut in it.
Well, I had good notes. I marked at all the stones, but there was one stone which I didn't have in my notes, and we hit it, and I was sure that we had a bunch, but no, the tyre survived it, and there is big marks on the tyre, but it seems that it's strong.
A great start for World Rally's latest star, but back in the stage, a more established name is attacking through the last kilometre. No signs of an engine problem so far for Loeb, although he's going to be a lot slower than Latvala 2. Or maybe a little caution from Seb with that concern over the engine. Let's hear from the world champion at the stop control.
Sebastian, Friday morning, you can forget the dramas of yesterday and everything that went on, but how was the car and the engine this morning?
It's okay. Feeling is okay. No power, but I think it's the same for everybody with altitude. But time is not so good. I was flat out all the stage, cannot go better. So looks difficult.
Loeb not too happy then, and back in the stage, Chris Atkinson is flying. The Subaru's Boxer engine has always historically run well, and Chris himself has a good record here, the Australian second fastest on stage 1. It's a good start too for Stobart Ford's Shishi Gali. Fresh from the second podium finish of his career in Sweden, the Italian's running at the sharp end again. He's 4.3 seconds behind Atkinson in 3rd. So Gali and Atkinson in front of the more established names of Loeb, Hivenen and Peter Solberg. This first leaderboard is completed by Henning Solberg and PG Anderson, but it's Jari-Matti Latvala who's at the top. It's been another fantastic start for Latvala. Oldback Hivenen has been able to match his pace. Straight on to stage 2 next, the 24-kilometre Ortega stage, the highest of the weekend at nearly 2,800 metres above sea level. We join Mikko Hirvonen, who's the first to experience the engine sapping heights. The low air pressure at altitude means less oxygen to mix with the fuel. As a result, the cars can't burn as much fuel, which leads to reduced horsepower. For Mikko, this is compounded by running first on the road with all the loose gravel. Latvala is only one position behind on the road, but he's coping a lot better than his teammates with the road surface. Matti is on his third attempt at Rally Mexico, but only his second in a World Rally car, so it's been an impressive display so far, and his strong pace has continued on stage 2. These are some of the fastest stretches of road of the rally here, despite the engine sapping altitudes, and Sebastian Loeb is beginning to make his move. The Frenchman is fastest in here and climbs up to second. He's also beginning to close on the rally leader. Tony Gardemeister in the Suzuki, though, is hemorrhaging time with a throttle problem. The Finn crawls through stage 2, losing over 8 minutes. Stage 2 is the highest stage of not only this rally, but also of the year, reaching almost 2,800 metres. This has a huge impact on the performance of the cars.
Because of the altitude, it's the same as an athlete. When they're running, not as much oxygen, the car needs oxygen to run, and you have to just be a little bit neater and carry a little bit more speed.
The engine is too weak in compared to the European event.
We have to rev the engine a lot. It's very important because it's not so strong, the engines in this altitude, so you just have to rev it, drive harder.
First time you jump in it out here, it is a big shock because it just feels terrible, really, just so lethargic on the power.
Just to show you how much of a difference, this is Danny Sordo flat out in Spain, where at sea level there is so much more oxygen present in the air. You can see that his top speed is over 200 kilometers an hour. Now that's Mikko Hirvonen here in stage 2 in Mexico. He's also flat out, but this time he's struggling to reach top speeds, much over 160 kilometers an hour. A graphic illustration of how much power these cars are losing. The added problem for the drivers is coping with this lack of power. Mexico is notorious for incidents, and these seem to be related to the frustrations of driving with an underpowered car.
When you start stages or even in a shakedown, you feel that there's no power, so you start to think that, okay, I can go flat out through every corner. But then eventually there's a corner which is tight enough and you end up having a big moment.
You need to be really tidy here that you get the good speed basically from the exit of the corners to the next corner, because if you go sideways to sideways, there is no as much power as you have in the Europe in the engine.
Once you're offline, you don't have the power to pull yourself back online, so a little mistake can be punished quite badly.
Back to the action now, though, and Gigi Gali is on a charge, hoping to keep the pressure on third place Chris Atkinson. With the second fastest time on stage 2, he closed to 6.4 seconds behind the Subaru driver, but he shows how easy it is to make a mistake just drifting on the loose gravel. It's a big moment for the Italian, and to make matters worse, he beaches the car, losing a minute and a half, and drops to 8th. Routerback in a privateer Citroën C4 also illustrates the fine lines here in Mexico.
5 left into care long 2 right, tightens long. Long 2 right, tightens 50. Oh.
He smacks the bank, breaking his suspension, and brings his rally to an early end. This is how they stand then after the first loop of stages on day 1. Jari-Matti Latvala is the surprise leader, 4.4 seconds ahead of Sebastian Loeb. Chris Atkinson is in third, 6.8 seconds behind, with Mikko Hirvonen trailing him in 4th. The crews arrive back in Leon, and there's a chance to get rid of some of the dust. This is an indoor service park inside the city's Poloforum exhibition centre.
Jari-Matti, how surprised are you to be in the lead?
Actually, I'm surprised because I expected that if we can fight for the top 3 places in the rally could be fantastic, but actually we are leading. It's quite a surprise for me, but I think so. It's just I have a confident and relaxed feeling when I started the rally because of the victory in Sweden, so maybe that's give me a little bit extra boost.
Were you a little bit cautious on that first stage this morning, checking it was okay?
No, I was not so cautious. I was really fast. Then I tried to adjust a bit the setting on the suspension, and it was a bit better after, but still difficult.
Mikko, how difficult was it running first on the road this morning?
Well, it was very, very slippery, and it was quite difficult to judge when you start the braking into the corners. There was so much loose gravel, but you know, it's behind now. We'll see how it goes from now on.
One driver who will not have the chance to compete this afternoon is PG Anderson. Problems with his Suzuki's engine has forced his retirement.
When I came over finish line on stage 3, it started going 3-cylinder, and after that it just went worse and worse on the road section. So I thought that might be an electric problem, but seems to be the engine.
Back out to the mountains above Leon now, and after 40 cars have passed over these roads this morning, the surface will be cleaner, but also a bit more hazardous, with rocks being pulled onto the stages. Mikko Hirvonen then will be on a level footing with the following cars, so can he build a challenge on the leading drivers this afternoon? Unless Mikko can close up, the stage is set for a terrific battle between Loeb and rally leader Latvala at the moment. Sebastian Loeb is just 4.4 seconds behind the Finn.
Droite 130 plus pas corde.
The Frenchman looking very determined, and judging by his early splits, he's on course to set another strong time.
Attention au pylône. Gauche ferme 130 bon Milon.
For Gigi Gali, it's been a frustrating morning so far. He's barely made it into the stage, and he's already in trouble. He's obviously sustained some damage as he's pulling off the road. Well, more disappointment for Gigi. But moving a few kilometres further down the road, Loeb is still trying to close on the rally leader. Sebastian was 4.4 seconds behind coming into this stage.
Et droite 120 moins Milon.
And there is Latvala's time.
250 mètres. Droite 140 plus Longtard et 3.
He's into the flying finish, but he's slower than Jari-Matti by 2.6 seconds. That's a terrific response from Latvala, and Loeb is now 7 seconds behind him. Back at the scene of Gali's off, meanwhile, the Italian is a forlorn figure as he tries to understand what went wrong.
Just we slide too much in the first corner, and it was we hit a rock or I don't know something in the first corner, and we damaged the arms, and it's too long way too far to go on the service, and no chance to continue.
Chris Atkinson is currently in third place and attacking hard to hold off Mikko Hirvonen.
Turn my volume up.
He has a problem with his intercom, meaning Chris is unable to hear a lot of his place notes, which means he's driving a lot of this stage from memory. Amazingly, Chris is third fastest and crucially beats Hirvonen again. Tony Gardemeister, meanwhile, is finally put out of this misery. After a morning of problems, he stops in stage 4. The root cause, it seems, related to a damaged head gasket. Both Suzukis are now out, with both engines being flown back to Japan for analysis. No Suzukis left, but there are 3 different manufacturers occupying the top 3 positions. Latvala is now 7 seconds ahead of Loeb, with Atkinson still just 6.3 seconds behind the world champion. Hirvonen is 10 seconds behind Atkinson. Rally Mexico has proved to be a real hit since its arrival back in 2004, although the hit has not always been a kind one, as Carlos Sainz's co-driver Mark Marty remembers well, after Carlos first rolled the car and then slammed the door on his thumb. Peter Solberg then had a flat battery and was illegally helped to push his car into service, earning him a 5-minute penalty. In 2005, Loeb broke his suspension, losing a wheel, and then had to try and make it back to service on just 3 wheels, which he did despite police intervention. He dropped to 17th, but still finished the event in fourth. 2006 and the year of the Mexican wildlife. Goats providing an unwanted distraction for Marcus Gronholm. The rally was a disaster for Ford as Gronholm crashed out on stage 4, only to be followed by his teammate Mikko Hirvonen on stage 8. In 2007, Henning Solberg didn't even make it through the first stage, while Matthew Wilson found a gate close to him in the middle of the stage. After all that, Loeb became the first man to win Rally Mexico twice. Back to 2008 and the second run through stages 5 and 6 as the crews once again passed through the highest point of the rally. Mikko Hirvonen hits trouble on stage 5 with a slow puncture that cost him 40 seconds. This sees him drop down from 4th to 5th overall. He does change the time, but by the end of stage 6, the Finn is still upset at the time lost.
Just a slow puncture and it started to go. We had still 15 kilometers to the finish and I felt that the tire started to go, the air is coming out of the tire slowly, so nothing we could do.
Hirvonen's misfortune is Petter Solberg's good fortune. The Norwegian happily taking 4th overall. He's got a few laps on the way.
4 left bus long, caution slow 50, crest unseen, ditch 3. 20. Shot 1 right bus, tightens. 6 left bus, 6 right 20, 2 left tightens, 1 bus. Oblong, opens, keep left over crest.
Chris Atkinson still has intercom problems, and the more observant will have noticed that he's wearing his co-driver's helmet in an attempt to improve communications between the pair. It seems to be the trick. Atkinson is 3rd fastest through stages 5 and 6. Jari-Matti Latvala, it seems, can do no wrong here in Mexico. He posts the quickest times through both stages, extending his lead to 11.2 seconds. Loeb has to settle for 2nd spot, unable to match the Finn's searing pace. Normally the Frenchman leaves everyone in his wake on the 2nd run through stages, but for once he's having to take a back seat, and it's clearly a position he's not comfortable with.
I don't know. I think I do really good stages. No mistake, perfect line, very fast everywhere. The time is not here, so I don't know.
Stages 7 and 8 are 2 runs through the Super Special to entertain the crowds at the end of the day. Chris Atkinson is not entertained by his performance though. This spin taking him 5 seconds, dropping him further behind Loeb. Latvala leads at the end of the day despite losing a couple of seconds to Loeb in the Super Specials. Atkinson's spin means he's now almost 13 seconds behind Loeb, and Solberg extends his lead over Mikko Hirvonen to just under 9 seconds. There is no Gigi Gali, and he won't be allowed to return as he damaged his roll cage in that earlier incident. So at the close of the first day, Jari-Matti Latvala leads the way from Sebastian Loeb, whilst his teammate and championship leader Mikko Hirvonen is struggling. Leon is the base for the rally and is situated over 400 kilometers northwest of Mexico City. It's known as the shoe capital of Mexico, and a stroll around the city centre soon reveals why. The rally also visits the famous city of Guanajuato, renowned for its silver, but also for the maze of alleys and brightly coloured buildings. It was made a World Heritage Site back in 1988. It's off into the Sierra de Lobos above Leon now, though, for what should be an intriguing day. We'll soon find out if Latvala is indeed a real match for the 4-time world champion Sebastian Loeb. First up today is the longest stage of the whole weekend. It is just under 30 kilometres. It's a tricky, narrow stage, and Latvala, with just 9.6 seconds in hand on Sebastian Loeb, needs to be on his guard.
Oikein 30. Oikein 2, heti nyppy vasen 2. Heti oikein 4 kirraa pitkään älä.
Loeb has arrived back on the start line, so let's switch our attention to the world champion now on the right side of the screen. He goes into this challenging stage. It's Latval's turn to start first on the road today. So running behind him, Seb will have a slightly clearer line, with Garinatti sweeping some of the loose gravel away. But will it be enough to make any big inroads into his lead? Latvala has already passed through the 8.6 kilometre split, which load is now fast approaching. So we're about to find out who's made the strongest start this morning. It's Sebastian, he's 3.5 seconds up already. The fight is on for the rally lead. Let's ride with Latvala for a while on the left side of the screen. This is a real test of the young Finns' talents here in stage 9. There's no bigger challenge in this sport than beating Sebastian Loeb in a straight fight. Latvala is clearly struggling on this loose surface. Our next marker is at 17 kilometres. That's just over halfway through this long stage. Garinatti has already passed it, and Loeb is charging towards it. Has the Frenchman continued his early momentum? He has indeed. He's making ground on the leader with every passing kilometre. Now 7.8 seconds ahead on the stage, which would almost wipe out Latvala's advantage. Loeb really hunting him down then, and he's now nearing the final split time. What a drive this is from Seb. He's now 9.9 seconds quicker. At this point, he's in front of Latvala. The Finn only started with a 9.6 second lead, remember. It looks like he'll lose the top spot here. Back with the Ford driver now on the left side of the screen. He's survived the numerous culverts and gateposts in this stage so far. But will he be able to make one more push and hold on to his lead in the last sector? The end of the stage coming up, and Garinatti sets a time of 18 minutes, 45.2 seconds.
At the last split, we have it 9.9, you're behind.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look too bad, but we have still chances. It's not lost yet.
Latvala clearly struggling then, playing the role as road sweeper. Loeb, in contrast, has been on a mission through here. But will he take the lead? Oh, not quite. He lost out over that last sector, but is now just 1/10 of a second behind.
Sebastian, you're not quite in the lead, but it's 0.1 behind now.
Yeah, it's very close again. So much better. We changed a bit the setting with the car, but I don't know what is the reason. Maybe Latvala is cleaning a lot. Maybe we have a better setting, but what is sure is that we were faster in this stage, and that's the most important.
Behind that thrilling fight for the lead, the gap between Hirvonen and Solberg is now just 3.4 seconds. But up ahead, Latvala's lead is hanging by a thread, just 1/10 of a second ahead of the fired-up Sebastian Loeb. This is the first event on gravel for the new control tyre, which, as in Monte Carlo and Sweden, is going to bring some new challenges. All cars are on a hard compound tyre to cope with the long abrasive gravel stages and temperatures in the high 20s, but one part of the new rules that is causing concern is not being able to hold the tyres.
Can be a bit more difficult than the previous years on the first pass, because we are not allowed to cut the tyre, and it's a lot of gravel, so it can be more difficult for the first passes, but except of that, I think the tyre will work well.
Cutting the tyres opened up the tread and allowed the gravel to be cleared more quickly, leading to more contact with the hard surface below where the grip is. The uncut tyre, though, cannot cut through gravel as easily, meaning less grip. Added to that, there's no run flat mousse this season, which means a puncture will cause major time loss.
For sure, there's less room for mistakes. Last year, if we went a little bit off the road and hit the bank or stone, the move saved us. But now it's not going to happen, so less room for mistakes.
Tyres have thicker walls to cope with the absence of the run flat mousse, but there might be need for a cleaner driving style to avoid having to stop and change a punctured tyre.
We have to just drive a little bit careful when it's a lot of rocks around, you know. Mark in the pace notes that it's sharp rocks or round rocks, and it's big difference that also, so it's a lot of details.
But as ever, the bottom line is that it's the same for everybody, which makes some drivers more philosophical than others.
It's black and round and it's working perfect in these conditions, so I'm no, and then I have to adjust the car around the tire, so I don't really think so much about the tire.
Next up for the cruise is stage 10, and Jari-Matti Latvala is struggling to hang on to his lead. Being first on the road, he's sweeping the road, and because he isn't allowed to cut his tyres to assist him, he's fighting for grip. And with almost 50 kilometres to run over the next 2 stages, he will be fearing the worst. Latvala goes into stage 10 just 1/10 of a second ahead of the charging Sebastian Loeb. More rough and rocky sections to negotiate here, and culverts punctuating the first few kilometres. It's difficult to find a rhythm in such conditions, and there's still plenty of loose gravel to plough through. Latvala has made it through the 9.4 kilometre split, which Loeb is now fast approaching. So a chance to see if the Frenchman can maintain the pace he showed in the previous stage. Using virtual spectator to compare Latvala and Loeb to this point, Sebastian is just ahead. He's 9/10 up so far. If he can keep this up, Seb will move ahead, as he was just 1/10 behind before the stage, remember. Latvala struggling to hang on then. Loeb can obviously sense his opportunity. He'll be receiving these split times inside the Citroën and is on the attack to ensure the lead is secured. Back with virtual spectator, let's move from the stage finish to see who's ahead. There's Loeb, and he's extended his advantage. He only needs to beat him by 2/10, so Sebastian will move in front here. Yes, he's 4.7 seconds quicker. Loeb is the new leader. He's now 4.6 ahead overall. Petter Solberg goes into stage 10 knowing he's coming under pressure from Mikko Hirvonen.
Open top long, tightens over crest 20. Keep out of the crest, don't cut 2 left fast tightens.
But holding off the fin could be the least of his problems now. That spin will have cost him valuable time. There also seems to be a problem.
Drive shaft or something.
Possibly a damaged drive shaft then. Well, Petter's main concern will be the amount of time he's losing as he struggles through the stage. It's not long before Mikko Hirvonen approaches the stricken Subaru. Petter having been forced to pull over. And as he overtakes him on the road, Mikko knows that 4th place is now his once again. In stage 11, Loeb extends his lead by 1.2 seconds. Latvala does beat Atkinson, extending the gap between them to 22.4 seconds. Petter Solberg never even made it to stage 11, retiring on the road section, so all the drivers behind him have moved up the pace. The crews head back to Leon for the midday service, and some are clearly happier than others.
How much of it do you think was road position?
That's the question. I don't know. We'll see that this afternoon. This afternoon will be all in the same condition. It's a second pass, so we will see if we can still be faster than him or if he will be faster. I don't know.
Jari-Matti, what happened this morning? How much of that was road position and how much of that was Sebastian Loeb being faster?
Half and a half, I would say. It's I didn't find the right feeling in the morning, and I was a little bit stuck, how I say, and but then Sebastian was also driving really, really quick in the first one, so we lost quite a lot of time. But then the second one and third one, I was back to base, so it was good.
Is the plan to try and catch Jari-Matti, or are you happy to settle for 3rd?
We came here thinking top 5 would be awesome, so top 3 would be really good, and it's not, we're not going slow, but we're not going to take stupid risks. We've got to watch out for Mikko behind, but that's the main issue.
Back up to stage 12, the tricky Ibarilla stage that caught out so many this morning. This is the second pass through the stage for Jari-Matti Latvala, which means a clearer run and a more even playing field for all the drivers. Starting just 5.8 seconds behind Loeb, he'll be aiming to keep the pressure on the new leader.
20 oikein 6 kirraa, älä.
It seems Mikko Hirvonen's first win of 2008 to wait a little longer. It's been a frustrating weekend so far for the championship leader. He's currently 4th. Oh, but that was a big whack under the car. He's hit a rock and it's punctured a tyre almost immediately. Without the run flat move system, he's going to have to stop to change the wheel. A tyre change normally takes around 2 minutes, so his position could come under threat here from Henning Solberg, who was 2 minutes and 23 seconds behind. Sebastian Loeb is fast approaching the end of the stage for another trouble-free run, and once again he posts a fantastic time, beating Jari-Matti Latvala by 7.1 seconds, taking his rally lead to 12.9.
I really tried very hard because I need to increase my lead. Tomorrow, if I'm cleaning the road, with 5 seconds it's not enough, so I really have to push at the maximum.
Loeb looking good out front then, but back in the stage, a frustrated Mikko Hirvonen has got going again after that wheel change. Unbelievably though, he's got another slow puncture, and the car is proving very difficult to control. Oh, and he's off the road now too. He's through a fence and does make it back onto the stage. He struggles through to the end, and you can see why the car was so difficult to control. Look at that rear tyre.
1 kilometer into the stage and there was some big stone on the line, and I hit front and rear tyre over there. And I had a front puncture straight away, and I stopped to change that one. But I think there was a slow puncture then in the rear because we just came in a fast left-hander which tightens, and I braked and it just went completely sideways and we went off the road, and that's it.
Henning Solberg was 2 minutes and 23 seconds behind Mikko, and despite being caught in Hirvonen's dust trail, he beats the Finn by 2.5 minutes and gratefully takes over 4th spot.
Til 6 høyre, åpner 50, kutt 6 venstre pluss til kø 50, kort 4 venstre pluss 80, 6 høyre.
So Loeb's lead is now up to 12.9 seconds. Atkinson slips a little further behind Latvala, but the big change is in 4th as Mikko Hirvonen loses the position after his 2 punctures, proving how costly the lack of run flat moose can be. More importantly, he now has no spares left with 4 stages to go. On to the final 2 mountain stages of day 2 then, and Loeb will hope to increase his advantage out front. The Frenchman looks a little rattled at times on day 1, but so far today he's had an almost perfect run. It's up to Latvala now to match the world champion's searing pace. Latvala is just 13 seconds behind Loeb coming into stage 13, but his quest to regain the lead has hit problems. The broken turbo pipe sees the Finn down on power, and he's getting a bit ragged as he pushes hard to compensate. He loses over 1.5 minutes over these 2 stages, conceding 2nd place to Atkinson.
We had a problem with the pipe connection between intercooler and turbo. That pipe is broken, and that's why it's leaking, and that's why we don't have the turbo boost. And the car is like, okay, we have something, but not much, so that's why we are losing a lot of time.
Mikko Hirvonen has already had his fair share of problems today. And with no spare tyres left, he'll need to be cautious over these closing stages. He'll set his sights on Henning Solberg in 4th on the final day. The Norwegian is quicker than Mikko on stage 13 though, and then with his first fastest time of the weekend, Henning pulls away again on 14. One thing is for certain, Henning will not be giving back third place easily.
Open hairpin right.
With Solberg driving for Munchies, Matt Wilson is nominated point scorer for Stobart BK.
Backs left in, 40 left, 3 plus.
But an idiotic spectator has thrown a rock at his windscreen, but survives that moment of insanity to finish the day 6th. There were 2 super specials to finish the day, and Henning Solberg increased his advantage over Hirvonen to 15.9 seconds. That is the battle to watch. But the rally is now Sebastian Loeb's to lose. He has the lead of over 1 minute going into the final day. So after another day of Mexican melodrama, Sebastian Loeb is just 5 stages from a 3rd consecutive win here in Mexico. There are 4 more stages to come, and with the top 3 positions looking reasonably secure, the battle to watch is that for 4th between Henning Solberg and Mikko Hirvonen. Sebastian Loeb is the first man onto stage 17. This pre-event engine drama aside, Sebastian is one of very few drivers to come through this year's Rally Mexico without drama. And having seen former leader Jani-Matti Latvala slip back on day 2, it's now firmly in control. Has been a revelation in Mexico. The Australian has shown good pace on this North American event before. His best result here to date, though, is 5th. But only will he beats that if he can hang on to 2nd. He'll achieve his best ever result of his career. Back at the start line is Jani-Matti Latvala. Behind Atkinson after his turbo problems, the lead is long gone, but he smashes the Subaru driver's time by almost 14 seconds in here. Henning Solberg begins the final day in 4th, but just 15.9 seconds ahead of Mikko Hirvonen. Despite both drivers using M-Sport-backed Ford Focuses, there will be no team orders. The Norwegian is determined to hold on to this place. The latter half of this stage is very tight and technical, and there are rocks everywhere. Not ideal conditions when you're fighting for position. Day 3 is just 3 long stages before a final blast around the 2-kilometre super special. So Mikko Hirvonen is running out of time to claim back 4th. He's already attacking harder in his efforts to reel in Solberg, coming towards the end of stage 17 now. Has Mikko been able to make up any time? Yes, 6.7 seconds quicker than Henning. The gap between the two now down to 9.2.
Mikko, I think Henning says that he didn't do too well on that stage. How do you feel?
Well, it was okay, but we just got a message now that stage 18 will be cancelled, so it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be enough.
A possible stage cancellation ahead then. Matt Wilson, meanwhile, is on course for an encouraging 6th place. While Federico Villagra could get his season off to a point-scoring start in 7th. The reigning Argentinian national champion will look forward to his home event in a few weeks' time, and his run in Mexico will be a timely confidence boost. Petter Solberg had high hopes of a strong finish here, but after a miserable run of luck, he's rejoined under the restart rules after retiring with a broken drive shaft. He is at least on course to score the final manufacturer's for Subaru. Latvala claimed the stage win, but he's still over 51 seconds behind 2nd place Atkinson. Hirvonen is beginning to close on Henning Solberg. There's now just 9.2 seconds between the 2 Ford drivers. Out front, though, Loeb maintains his healthy lead. With the fans arriving in their thousands to the Guanajuato stage, as Hirvonen had already heard, the build-up of traffic and sheer numbers of fans on the roadside have left the organisers no choice but to cancel it. It's the first time in the event's history a cancellation has occurred, and it's an unfortunate side effect of the rally's growing popularity. So just one mountain stage remaining, then the 18 kilometres of Comanchia, and the cancellation of the previous test is good news for the rally leader. Loeb is now even closer to his 2nd win of the season. Stage 19 is cleared with no dramas. Back to the fight for 4th. Henning Solberg is just 9.2 seconds ahead of Mikko Hirvonen. Henning has become one of the most exciting drivers to watch in World Rally, with his all-or-nothing driving style winning him many fans. A chance now to ride with the Munchies Ford driver as he pushes to hold off Hirvonen. But something is not right here. He's sliding around and clearly not in full control of the Focus. It's a slow puncher at the front of the car, and it's going to make for a wild ride over the last kilometre.
Line til krøn i 6 venstre, min halvlang 50. 6 venstre, åpner over 109 på kort min. 40, 2 høyre pluss.
Just look how he's fighting with the wheel to keep the car on the clean line.
Flat 6 venstre pluss, lang.
He's clearly not happy. It's the last thing Henning needed as he seeks to hold off the championship leader, and Hirvonen is the next driver into stage 19. Mikko has 9.2 seconds to make up to claim 4th place, and crucially for the Finn, he needs the extra point to maintain the championship lead. Let's join Ford's number 1 through the same section as Henning has just passed through. You can clearly see how much more control he has through these corners.
Lyhyt oikein, nopea menee tasa. Nyt pikkuinen täys 6 pitkä, vasen täys aukeaa ja kirraa pitkäksi. Kooksellinen keskeltä menee ja pidä. Huomio, varo 6, vasen kirraa. Jarru 2 oikein, tosi hidas, kirraa yli nypyn.
Not long until the finish boards now. That's the target time. Mikko needs to move ahead. I think he could do this. Yes, Hirvonen moves up to 4th. He's now 2.5 seconds ahead with just the super special to run. After stage 19, all positions should now be secure in the top 8. Other than that, fight for 4th. Loeb, Atkinson and Lapala can now enjoy a grandstand finish to secure their podium finishes. But for Hirvonen and Solberg, there is one more battle to come. The final stage there, back to the super special in Leon for a double run through, so just under 4.5 kilometres remaining. Driving on the puncture in the penultimate stage, whoever has damaged Henning Solberg's shock absorber is left limping through and will have to settle for 5th.
What was wrong? I broke something on the last stage. It was a nut came loose on the shock absorber. It was just a small problem, but it's a big problem. So I lost my 4th position, and okay, for the team it's the best situation now with Mikko in front of me, but I really wanted this 4th place.
We're deprived a dramatic fight to the finish for 4th then, but Mikko Hirvonen won't be bothered by that. After a frustrating weekend, the Finn claims a consolation 4th place.
It's the championship lead still, but the problem is that gives you 1st on the road in Argentina.
Yeah, we're gonna be 1st on the road in Argentina, but what I learned this weekend is that the difference is it's not that big, and Argentina should be a little bit better. So I just need to find more speed to be able to fight against Sebastian and Jari-Matti, and that's the only thing.
Faulty turbo pipe could lead to Jari-Matti Lapala's hopes of fighting for a win, but once again his talent has proved that Loeb and Hirvonen will not have the monopoly on victories this season.
It was a great start for the rally. Unfortunately, we hit the problems on Saturday. Plus, I wasn't in the best mood on Saturday mornings. I was losing some time there, but anyway, we got the feeling back today, and it looks good. And I really want to make the fight with the Sebastian and the rest of the guys in the future.
Well, Chris Atkinson is about to score his 2nd podium finish in 3 rallies. Atkinson secures 2nd place, his best ever result.
7 left.
Out front, though, it's the familiar sight of Sebastian Loeb cruising home to victory. There's one small moment of confusion with the world champion not realising the final super special is a double loop. But with such a commanding lead, it's something he and co-driver Daniel Elena can see the funny side of. Stage 20 cleared, and it's win number 38 for the world champion.
It's a big battle with Jari-Matti. First day he was a bit faster. Second day I was a bit faster, but it was really close when he had his problem. So since that, I have a bit more air to finish the rally quietly.
So confirmation then of another emphatic win for Loeb, beating Chris Atkinson by over a minute. Jari-Matti Lapala has to settle for 3rd and 6 points after a very encouraging rally. Mikko Hirvonen finally finishes 4th after 3 punctures hampered any chances of fighting at the sharp end. Henning has to settle for 5th, and Matthew Wilson is 6th. After an action-packed event, the Abu Dhabi spirit of the rally is awarded to the Mexican organisers. They stepped in at the last minute after Australia withdrew from the calendar to provide us with another fantastic rally. Back in Leon, Loeb heads into the service area for a mixture of relief and celebration.
Sebastian, after Thursday's little dramas, you must be pretty happy with today's result.
Yes, for sure. It was really important for me to do well here in Mexico after the problem we had in Sweden. So now it's done. We are only at 1 point from Mikko for the championship. So it's really a good result here.
This is good news, but I think it won't be easy at all. And we got Latvala, Hirvonen, Subaru is coming back. So I think it's quite good for the championship.
Chris, when you came to Mexico, do you think you'd be on the podium?
No, and to be on the second step is a bit better than Monte Carlo, so that's really cool. All the guys behind me here did an awesome job, the whole team, Subaru, spot on, so let's look forward to the rest of the year.
In the drivers' title race, Hirvonen in fourth place means he holds on to the championship lead by a single point from Loeb. Lappler is third, with Chris Atkinson in fourth. In the manufacturers, Ford extend their lead with an 11-point haul. Citroën move up from fourth to second, 12 points behind Ford. The Munchies register their first points and move past Suzuki. Next up for the cruisers, another classic gravel event, Rally Argentina. There are bumps, jumps, and of course the infamous water splashes. Check out WRC.com for an in-depth look at Sebastian Loeb's Rally Mexico. And there's a preview to Argentina, plus we put your questions to the drivers. But it's Sebastian Loeb who makes it 3 wins on the trot on the Mexican Sierras. We're in Argentina next, but from Mexico, it's goodbye.